Well, the Road Warriors struck again. It was a must-win game for the Golden State Warriors. They're all going to be from this point forward. And I've got a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players in NBA history, one of the greatest Golden State Warriors in franchise history, joining me next. We're talking Warriors. It's a win. It's a good time. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow the Hall of Famer, the legend, the man, the myth, Rick Barry on all social media platforms at Rick24Barry. Super easy. The 24 represents his playing number, his favorite number that you emulated, sir, following Willie Mays, if I have my facts correct. Rick, how are you doing? You're joining us from a plane. You're about to get on a flight, but you gave me a last minute heads up that you can join the program anytime you say that. I'm bringing you on. Your reaction to the Miami Heat losing to the Golden State Warriors in a game that I felt like the team desperately needed. And tell everyone how the hell you're doing, and share the great news as well regarding your family, sir. Great to see you. Oh, we just lost Rick. That is how it goes sometimes when you host a live program. That's okay. The Hall of Famer will hopefully join me very soon in just a moment. In fact, like I said, he was boarding a plane right there, and we lost him right at the jump. So it is what it is in that regard. Anyways, thank you everyone for joining me. Thanks for joining the program. Welcome to Locked On Warriors, the Golden State Warriors, in a game that was a must-win. They're all a must-win at this point moving forward. The final score in Miami, 113-92. The Miami Heat were missing a lot of players tonight because of injury. Kevin Love was not playing. Duncan Robinson was not playing. But clearly the most important player not available for the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, was out because of illness. The Warriors had their own injuries to deal with, which has not been a huge problem this season. But they were missing one of their more important players, considering how the season's going and their lack of depth in the front court. And those Trace Jackson Davis, who was experiencing some knee swelling. So he missed the game tonight. And because of that, we had a Kevon Looney sighting. But regardless, the absence of Trace Jackson Davis did not impede the Warriors, and they took advantage of the players missing from the Miami Heat. A fantastic defensive night for the Golden State Warriors. Anytime you hold your opponent to below 100 points, that's a win on the defensive side, 113-92. And hopefully we'll get Rick back on the program in just a moment. Oh, I think I see him.
Yeah,
we have
I'm here.
a Rick Barry sighting. Let me get my... There we go. Are you back? You're with us?
Yeah, I just couldn't hear you, so I dropped off and called back. So anyway, I'm excited for the Warriors. A huge win. I mean, obviously, on the road it's always tough, but the thing is to win a game, even though they had some other people missing, you still have to get the job done. And to do it with Steph not having a great offensive night, not shooting the ball particularly well from 3-point range, with 0 points from Chris Paul, not having his normal type of a game. To come away with a victory, and as you pointed out, having good defensive opportunity, that opportunity effort in the game to come away with a much-needed win. And you know what? I'm sick and tired because earlier today, I'm so tired of listening to the talking heads, and I even shouldn't call them talking heads because this happens to be a former player. Kendrick Perkins sometimes. He says a lot. He says a lot of things that I really agree with, and it's good. I mean, he's a former player. He does know the game and all, but my God, I mean, he's so down on the Warriors. I mean, he picked the Heat. It doesn't matter whether Jimmy Butler played or not. I mean, I'm just sick and tired of listening to these guys. Here's the thing. First of all, you don't know who's going to win or lose games, okay? Everybody asks me all the time when I broke. It used to drive me nuts. Well, who do you pick? I said, how the hell do I know who I pick? I said, I wouldn't be on the show here. I'd be betting every time if I knew who was going to win. I said, that's the whole idea about sports. You have to play the damn game. And so it just drives me absolutely nuts. And they talk like they really know what's going on. So anybody listen to Perkins lost money if they bet on the game. So, I mean, it's nuts. And so the Windhorst the same way. Well, I don't know if Jimmy B, maybe not. If Jimmy B stars, I'll do it. They make it like a big thing. Stop predicting. You don't have the freaking answers. Let the game unfold. Talk about it. Talk about what you think. My thing before would have been big game for the Warriors. If it doesn't matter whether Jimmy plays or not, they're on the road. They have to come up with a way to win the game. Who cares who gets it done? Just get it done. And they did it. Yeah. So that's the most important aspect.
Without question. Absolutely. You know, you brought up Stephen Curry. And again, I value your opinions more than anyone. And thank you for the rant there. I would play. We normally play on the Rick Barry show. We normally play a soundbite to go along with
drives me crazy.
But because of copyright, I can't play that here, unfortunately. Nonetheless,
okay.
Stephen Curry's shooting lately, I don't know if it's driving people
not
crazy,
been great.
But
It's been very erratic for him. Yes.
What do you attribute to that? Because there seems to be a little. Okay.
It happens. I mean, that just happens. I mean, that's why I'm happy because he didn't have a good shooting night. Klay came through and had a nice game shooting. So hopefully Klay will still have another good game, but you don't expect Steph to have back-to-back bad games. Now he's had that happen. In the last couple of weeks, he's had back-to-back bad games, and they're not going to win consistently. That's why I was so happy to see that he didn't have a particularly good game, and Chris Paul gets 0 points, and they win the game convincingly. I don't care who's out of the game. That was a convincing, good win for them on the road against a good basketball team. I mean, let's face it. Look what happens. Look what happened to Boston. I mean, they lost by the 30-point lead, and they didn't have their best guy playing in the game, and they wound up giving up a 30-point lead. So stuff like that happens all the time in the game. That's why you have to be prepared. You have to keep focused. So kudos to the Warriors and the guys that played. They got the job done. Now they got to try to do it again tomorrow because the way the Rockets are playing, I mean, they're right.
Oh, we just lost Rick Barry again. He was on a roll there. He'll be joining us again in just a moment. Let me just do a quick shift here. My screen to make the appropriate adjustment. Whoops, wrong one. Anyways. But just to piggyback off what Rick was saying, when he comes back, what I want to ask him is whether or not Steve, because there's a public airing of disagreement between Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry, where Steve Kerr is publicly acknowledging that Stephen Curry is wearing down and he's trying to monitor his minutes. We had the whole drama following the Warriors Timberwolves game where, quite a few people were not happy with the fact that Steph was on the bench until about the 6-minute mark in a game that the Warriors ended up losing by 4. And, and Steve Kerr is talking about protecting Steph, giving him some rest. But then Steph comes out publicly, and according to Stephen Curry, he's fine. Now, look, athletes will routinely say that. I would say probably it's a safe guess that most professional athletes don't like to acknowledge if their physical the physical side of things is in any way being affected in a negative manner, meaning injuries, for example. In this case, exhaustion, wear and tear. So who knows if Stephen Curry is just in that mode where he doesn't want to, cast any blame for his recent shooting struggles. He doesn't want to admit that, his body's wearing down. He loves to play. Stephen Curry, I feel like, will play a whole game if he had to. I think we got Rick back again. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, I'm on an airplane getting ready to take off. So anyway, it's the signal level. Something's happening. You're freezing up on me. But anyway, so good game. Now they got to try to win the next one. As I said, if I got cut off beforehand, every game is critical with the way the Rockets are playing, and they could conceivably not even make the playoffs if they don't win as many games as they can down the stretch.
Correct. Well, while I have you, I have a few questions I have to ask. First of all, the Stephen Curry thing. I was just talking about this while you were coming back, where there is a public disagreement between Steve Kerr and Steph. Steve Kerr saying that he is seeing signs of wear and tear. He's trying to protect Stephen Curry. Then Steph comes out publicly and says, "I'm fine. I could play all the minutes you want." You, as a Hall of Fame athlete, what's your take on that?
You know how I feel about that. I mean, I averaged 47 minutes a game one time. I mean, come on, he's in great shape. He's a freaking professional athlete. And if he says he's okay, if I'm the coach, I'm saying, okay, if you feel you're good, great. And if I see you're getting tired, I'll maybe pull you out, give you a little blow and everything. But I think, in this situation, I think Steve should listen to what Steph is saying. I mean, come on, this is, two-time MVP, could have been more than that. And listen to what he has to say. I mean, it's too critical right now for them to not have him playing.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so did you feel the last game that they lost to the Timberwolves? Like, should Stephen Curry have come back into the game a few minutes earlier, or did you not think that was a big deal?
I didn't get to see all the games because I was on the road traveling. So, I mean, to me, unless there's something really wrong with them going on, I don't see how you not have Steph Curry in the game. I mean, seriously. I mean, he only played 31 minutes in this game, so which is good. He's got to play tomorrow night again. But if it's a close game and doing it, I want Steph Curry on the court. I mean, come on.
Yes.
Even if he shot poorly, I mean, the guy all of a sudden, he can be shooting, I had that happen. I was 2 for 14 in the 7th game finals in the playoffs. I mean, in the Western Conference. And I didn't stop shooting. I mean, and I went 5 for 7, in the last 6 minutes or something. I mean, come on, this is Steph Curry we're talking about.
I love it. I love the answer. Because, some athletes just will not acknowledge if they're hurt or if they're tired.
Hey, I used to ask if I was tired, I'd give him a blow. I need it. But if I don't give him the blow, I mean, I'll find a way. Hey, I get a rebound, throw it out. I will run up the court. I'll take a rest that way. I'll never do it defensively.
Right. Rick, I gotta give some love to a sponsor real fast. Do you mind sticking around for a minute or so?
Well, hopefully I won't cut off. Go ahead.
All right, I hope so too. Okay, we'll have a lot more with Hall of Famer Rick Barry in just a moment. We got to talk about Canyon Barry, your youngest son. Some fantastic news pertaining to him. First up, a sponsor though. And that sponsor today is eBay Motors, which is all about saving you money, passion, drive, and patience. That's what brings home the winning trophy. And it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day, do you have to turn down the volume with all that shouting from, let's say, Kendrick Perkins? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make sure you follow Rick Barry on all social media platforms, especially on his Instagram account. Follow him there at Rick24Barry, as we're hoping to get him reconnected with the internet, and we lost him again. I was just about to ask him about we got him back again. There is a Hall of Famer. Rick, I don't know how many more times or how much longer we're going to have you. First of all, give some love to Canyon. There was some tremendous news that came out today. Reveal to the world what that news is.
Well, my son, who I think has been a little bit, I'm not speaking as a father. I mean, my son could play, and I don't think he really got a fair shot at getting a chance to make the NBA. But, that's life. But everything in life happens for a reason. As a result of that, he committed himself to 3x3 basketball, which is a sport that you really need to know and understand how to play the game smart, moving without the ball, just being intelligent. And, he and Jimmer and Kareem and I'm going to draw a blank on his name, Dylan. They were announced as the team that went and spent months and months traveling around the world in Mongolia and everything, qualified the USA for the Olympics. And then they had to go to a tryout to do it. And the powers to be decided to let these guys who had great chemistry and were playing good and came, so close to winning the World Cup this past season. It was like crazy that they lost. It's very sad. And they chose to let these guys have the opportunity to be representing our country. So my son, as a result, is now an Olympian. And that's a very special thing. Nobody else in the Barry household, regardless of what everybody's accomplished, has become an Olympian. So, kudos to him. I'm so glad this happened for him. I know he's really excited about it. And I know how much he appreciated representing the United States in a bunch of other competitions. He's been in 5 competitions on national teams internationally. He's had 4 golds and 1 silver medal, and it could have easily been 5 gold medals on the teams when he's played. So, and they missed that on the Olympics the last time because he got hurt 2 days before and they didn't qualify. So anyway, I'm happy for him. Yeah,
I'm happy for him and you and the whole Barry clan. Congratulations.
Yeah. Now I got to figure out how to get there because I'm coaching in the Big 3, so I got to find a way. And I figure I found a way to do it. I was kind of shocked. We'll be having a game in the Big 3 for Ice Cubes. I'm looking forward to the Ball Hogs, but we play in Cincinnati. Amazingly, there's a nonstop flight that night after our game from Cincinnati directly to Paris. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, so I can get over there and spend a week watching them play. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's huge. And Canyon Barry is going to be one of the players for the U.S. men's 3-on-3 basketball team, which is a relatively new format for the Olympics. I think this is the second time they're doing it. And as you mentioned, Canyon would have played on the last Olympics team, except for injury, preventing him from doing so. And just to piggyback off what you said a moment ago, you and your 5 sons have all played professional basketball. I believe 4 of the 6 have played in the NBA. Correct me, obviously, on any of these if I'm wrong, but no Olympic gold medals. So Canyon will complete, potentially, if he wins the gold, the circle of greatness. Am I correct?
Never mind whether winning a gold. Nobody's ever been.
There you go.
Never been an Olympian. So that was my biggest disappointment in my career, is not getting on the Olympic team at 64 when I was in college before the pros came in. So, as I say, everything in life happens for a reason. He didn't get the NBA chance. If he had, he never would have had the chance to be on that team, because now it's all the pros and the big name guys. And so now he gets to be an Olympian. So good for him. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for you too. Rick, I'm going to lose you at any point here, but so I have to ask you this though. Rick, what happens if, and again, this fight for the 10th playoff spot is between 2 of your former teams. A lot of people will forget that you finished your career with the Houston Rockets, but those 2 are fighting it out. With this win was huge because now the Warriors have a 1-game lead over Houston. Really, it's 2 because they own the tiebreaker.
Right.
But Rick, what happens if the Warriors miss the playoffs? I mean, do you blow this whole thing up? Do you not even want to touch that subject right now? Because a lot of people, there's more, that discussion's heating up, and I'm curious to know what you're thinking.
Well, first of all, let's see what happens if they get in there and do it. I mean, it's been a crazy year with all of the suspensions with Draymond and the things that have taken place, and Wiggins and all the stuff he had gone through. I mean, it's and the learning curve for Kuminga and for Moody and the rest of the guys. No, I don't necessarily think you blow it up, but you do look to try to find another element to bring to the team to have an opportunity to still be competitive again, next year. But as I say, if they do get in and they get through that play-in game, I would not want to be playing this team because of the experience that they have and the potential. They can beat anybody in the league on any night. Now, whether they can beat somebody in the whole full series remains to be seen. They haven't showed the fact that they can be as consistent as they need to be. But hopefully for the fans' sake, they'll make the playoffs and they'll have an opportunity to see some games there. And
we just lost Rick Barry there again. And I think we'll call it a wrap on the Rick Barry experience tonight. He joined me for 2 segments from an airplane. I'd say that's impressive enough. So I'll take it over for the rest of the show tonight. But many thanks again to Hall of Famer Rick Barry for taking some time out of his schedule. We'll get him back on again soon. I consider him a dear friend, and congratulations to his family and especially Canyon for making the Olympics, which is absolutely insane. Just a quick little personal thing here, which has no bearing on anything other than just, giving you a little glimpse into my life or whatever that's worth. I one time competed for the Olympics as well, but it was not in basketball. I'm 5'10". I would never have a chance in hell. And I had a late growth spurt. So I was always one of the smallest kids on top of that. I skipped a grade on top of that. So I was always like younger than everyone else, smaller than everyone else. So I had to develop a shot early in life just to play a sport that I love. But I almost competed in the Olympics in table tennis, aka ping pong. We got Rick for one more segment. We're going to give him one.
Yeah,
we'll give him a few more minutes. Here you go. Welcome back, sir.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I don't know when I lost you, but I'm just saying I think it's too early to panic right now. Let's just hope and find a way to get into this playoff at least. see what happens. A lot happens with the Lakers as well. They were losing in their game, so maybe they can overtake them and have the home court at least in that situation. And if somebody else falls apart a little bit, maybe they'll sneak up and move up to the 8th spot. Who knows? That's why you play the games. Okay, I don't have the answers, and I've never bet on the game. Never would bet on the game. I certainly didn't do it when I played, and I don't do it now, and I never did before. I mean, I never will.
Did you see the story about? Speaking of gambling, did you see that story about Michael Porter Jr.'s younger brother for the Raptors? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I heard a little something about it, but I'm not sure of it. I don't know the final game. And then they have Otani or stuffing with his interpreter betting on baseball. They had all that crazy stuff going on. Why would guys do anything like that? Why would you do anything to jeopardize stuff? I mean, you're making millions of dollars. Why are you so stupid to do stuff like that? I just don't understand it.
Right.
I really don't. But anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. So it was good to see you.
Go ahead. Yeah, we'll get you back on. Rick.
And then maybe I'll talk to you tomorrow night. Bye.
Well, yeah, let's do the Rick Barry Show soon as well. All right, safe travels, Rick. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
Always a pleasure, sir. Love you. Love the man himself. He is the man, the myth, the Hall of Famer, the legend, head coach of the Ball Hogs. And, of course, we'll talk about all that and so much more. Congrats to Canyon and to you.
Thank you.
That's
Appreciate
tremendous news. That's tremendous news. Congratulations, Rick. And that's Rick Barry, the Hall of Famer himself. But, yeah, just to really quickly capitulate on or finish up on that that story regarding Michael Porter Jr.'s younger brother. I forgot his first name. That's why I keep saying using the brother's name instead. But for those of you that are unaware, he shortly before, I believe, tip-off, he was pulled away from the team because he's being investigated, not just by the NBA, but I think legally, and he might face some serious legal ramifications for this, for allegedly fixing games. Let me correct that. Not fixing games, but altering his own performance in terms of individual bets. So, sports gambling really has like two different styles in this current incarnation that we have here. We have traditional sports gambling where you bet on teams, you bet on props and all that stuff, where you're betting on, let's say, spreads of a game and over under of a game. And then the other side of it is the daily fantasy part of it, where you're betting on individuals, right? So, for example, you could place a bet on Stephen Curry and whether or not he's going to score more or less than 29.5 points in a game. Well, Porter, in this instance, is being and this is allegedly, I want to emphasize that, but he's under investigation for basically taking himself out of two different games. In one instance, he supposedly had an eye injury that he claimed he had, so he took himself out. In another game, he left the game early because of quote unquote illness. And in both those games, a high prominent sports bookie came out and said the biggest bets made those 2 days were on the under of his individual performances. Meaning, let's say if you want to bet on Porter that game, making more or less than 2.5 3-pointers, he bet like the biggest wagers made that day, on those 2 days more specifically, were the unders on his individual performances. And because he took himself out of these games so soon, he hit the under. He scored less than, and let's say he passed less than whatever the line was for assists, grabbed less than whatever the line was for rebounds. So by taking himself out of these games, one for a supposed eye injury, the other one for a supposed illness, and that was not specific, he basically clinched the under for his bet because he was out of the game and barely had a stat line. And those 2 days and those specific bets were the biggest wagers in sports gambling for that day, reported by a high-profile sports gambling company. And again, if you Google search it, you can find a lot more information on it. But the point is, that is heavy. That is crazy. And as Rick said, why would you put yourself as an NBA player in that position? It's insane. I mean, anyway, so that to me was wild. I know the Otani stuff has been all over the news with sports gambling, but that one went under the radar, and it's wild. It's really wild because he's literally affecting his own performance just to basically win bets. And yeah, Raceland Mahiri, if I pronounce that correctly, that will likely result in a lifetime ban. I mean, that's on the level of Pete Rose. It's really, really crazy stuff. All right, let's get back to Warriors, though, and we'll talk a lot more. Thanks again to Rick Barry for joining the program. When we come back, I want to highlight a few things that I noticed from this game as well. Got to give some players their props. But first up, let's pay some bills with our amazing sponsors that I have nothing but adoration for. And first up is Amazon, and more specifically, the Amazon Fire TV. Let me see if we have an overlay for that for the YouTube viewers. There it is right there. All right. Good stuff. That's how I watch my TV, by the way. I have a Fire TV of my own. And look, Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV, which provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. That's how I get my live TV. I'm all about the Amazon Fire TV. I literally have one in my living room. That's why I watch, excuse me, my television. So whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. So Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us here at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels lets you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep you up to date on all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. And if you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. For the everydayers, we're right back at this tomorrow. It's Warriors and Magic. The Warriors won that matchup earlier this year, but that Orlando Magic team is damn good, especially on the defensive side of things. So we'll be joining you immediately following the broadcast. I was originally going to have Rick Barry join me tomorrow, but I think I don't blame him. I think he was really excited about getting the Canyon Barry news out there for the Olympics. So props to him. But a few things to point out for this game, because we didn't really get into much of the nuance regarding what happened tonight. Probably the biggest news from this game was Klay Thompson being reinserted into the starting lineup. What precipitated this, I don't know. Maybe by next episode, we'll have a more clear picture of that, unless Steve Kerr said something very recently that I missed. My guess is it's Brandon Podziemski's struggles. And look, it's no secret that at least on the offensive side of things, Podziemski has not been playing well. And in fact, here's a soundbite. All right, let's hear from Steve Kerr talking about Klay Thompson reinserted into the starting lineup, and then we'll read a stat line because it was fantastic. He basically did what they needed him to do in that Timberwolves game. But hey, he did it. He performed well. We'll read his stats in just a moment. But here's Steve Kerr talking about inserting Klay Thompson into the starting lineup.
What sparked the decision to start Klay, and what do you feel like his presence opened up?
Just felt like get a little more spacing on the floor to start the game, and it's not, doesn't necessarily mean it's permanent. It just felt like tonight that was important.
The gut. You went with the gut. Well, the gut worked tonight. Steve Kerr's gut succeeded tonight. It was a gut decision. According to Steve Kerr, he wanted spacing for the offense. Whether or not it worked, I mean, the team started off leading this game 13-5. And my whole thing with this offense and defense, but I'll say this to the end. This team, look, they beat the Miami Heat tonight. They had to win this game, especially considering that the Houston Rockets are nipping at their heels for that final for the final play-in spot. But Klay and Wiggins together is a detriment, that's a hill I'll fight on. I will. It's just the numbers show it in terms of their net rating as a duo. When we talk about these fourth quarter leads constantly dissipating, it's happening almost entirely when you have both those players on the court together. Those two have by far the worst net rating on this team among the entire roster. If it's one or the other, they can survive. But when you see both of them on the court together, it's a detriment. I digress. Tonight, Klay Thompson, the stat line was superb. He led the team by far in net rating with a plus 25. So I think he came into this game tonight minus 71 on the year in net rating. So this game helped that stat quite a bit. Finished the night with 28 points, 6 of 14 from beyond the arc, shot over 50% from the field. He was 11 of 20. And a lot of those buckets coming close to the rim. He was staying inside. I saw him grabbing some tough rebounds as well. He grabbed 5 on the night, had 1 block, and I remember that block very specifically. It was a big one. So kudos to Klay Thompson. Led the team in scoring tonight. Was the only player to score over 20, which is kind of crazy. And again, this was a low-scoring affair. 113-92 was the final score. But again, Klay Thompson inserted into the starting lineup, and at least for tonight, it worked. Steve Kerr did not commit to this being a long-term decision, going with the old gut. And again, tonight it paid off. Brandon Podziemski was the quote-unquote victim of Klay being inserted into the starting lineup, because that was who got replaced was Brandon Podziemski, who still played tonight. He played 22 minutes, was 3 of 5 from the field. But in all honesty, look, Brandon Podziemski was drafted not just for his tenacity, not just for his toughness. And, we all see the rebounding and the fact that he's second on the team in rebounding, I believe, averaging over 5 a game, close to 6, actually. But he also shot, if I'm not mistaken, 43.8% from beyond the arc his second year in college at Santa Clara. And that is not translating to the NBA. He's that if that 3-point shot was falling consistently, things would be very different in terms of the fate of the Warriors this season, in terms of how far they can go, in terms of the predicament they find themselves in right now, where they're trying to fight off the Houston Rockets. If Brandon Podziemski was consistent shooting it from outside, this is not anything we're worrying about. But unfortunately, it's not. And I'm pulling up Podziemski's stats right now. He averages 5.7 rebounds. Awesome. But he's shooting 37.9% from beyond the arc. Not awesome. If we see that number increase to what he was shooting in college, 43%, 44%, we're talking about a whole different Warriors team altogether. And the great news is that will hopefully happen eventually. Shooting does improve in a player's career if they work at it. You're going to see it with Podziemski, and you're going to see it with a lot of other players on this roster too, who are on the younger side as well. So anyways, he was the casualty in terms of Klay starting. 6 points, 5 rebounds, was 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. And again, when that part of his game evolves, look out. But until that happens, offensively, he is a bit of a liability. I thought Jonathan Kuminga was superb tonight. There was one putback that was one of the most high-flying dunks I've ever seen in my life. I haven't had a chance to examine the highlights of it yet, but I swear his head was above the rim. I need to double and triple check the highlights, but he flew so high in the air. It was mind-blowing. The bench reaction was incredible, as it always is when Kuminga has these high-flying dunks. Guy Santos has become one of my favorites. Like, he doesn't celebrate. He has this look of just disbelief, of just utter shock. Like, I like, this is too much for me to witness. It's such a beautiful thing to witness. Not Kuminga's dunks, that alone is amazing. But I'm talking about Guy Santos and the way he reacts to those Kuminga dunks. Anyways, Kuminga had a fantastic game tonight. Was second on the team in scoring. Finished with 18 points on 8 of 13 shooting. His shooting has been absolutely incredible all season. I believe he's second on the team in field goal percentage, second or third. Was second on the team in net rating with a plus 21. Also added 7 rebounds in this game. Only had 1 turnover. And for a Warriors team that's dead last in the NBA in free throw attempts since the All-Star break, that's one of the many things he brings to the table. The Warriors only had 10 free throw attempts this whole game. Miami only had 13. There were not a lot of fouls called tonight, but that is a part of Kuminga's game that's so invaluable. He still led the team in free throw attempts with 3. Want to mention as well, Stephen Curry, before we go, 31 minutes in this game. The outside shot is not fully back yet. Jay Boogie. Wow. I didn't expect that. Well, again, nice knowing you, I guess. Sorry for the distraction there. Real fast, just to finish up, Stephen Curry in this game, 17 points, but the outside shot is still not fully there yet. Was 3 of 10 from beyond the arc, but he did shoot nearly 50% from the field, 7 of 15 for the night. Also added 6 assists. So Steph did what he had to do. The Warriors did what they had to do. And they're still alive for that play-in berth. Thank you as always for joining me. We'll be back at this tomorrow. Until then, have a great night, everyone. Peace and bye-bye.